Hello friends, happy Wednesday. Today we are going to be discussing all that makes a book beautiful, exquisite, classy, eye-catching, which is their titles. I actually fully was inspired by Jack Edwards because I was binging his YouTube channel the other day, and one of the videos I was watching was him discussing all of his favorite book titles, and I was so enthralled. And I loved, he also did a follow-up of what his subscribers' favorite book title names were, which I loved so dearly, and I just wanted to recreate so much because I am such a huge fan of book titles. Specifically, obviously I love the books, I love the covers, but the titles are so important to the story, and not even just the story, but to get anyone to pick up your book. I love the creativeness of book titles and the poetry of it all, especially when you really compare them sometimes, because some book titles just completely blow you away, and then others, once you start paying attention to book titles, you start to realize how unimpressive some book titles are. So, it's a spectrum, truly. But today I just wanted to go through some of my favorite book titles because this is something that I have always been very keenly aware of. I am nothing if not a person who cares very much about aesthetics. I feel like that's just a huge reason why I love art and visual mediums. That's also why I feel in conjunction, book covers are so important to me. I am thoroughly disappointed if I don't like a book cover. I will be so honest with you. So when I do like a book cover, when I do like a book title, they pop out so much to me and obviously make me want to read it more. So I'm gonna list 15 of my favorite book titles of all time. I am so serious. I made a list of 50. So I think probably 100% actually, I will be making multiple videos like this because there's so many books in the world and I could just keep going on and on. Because what really makes a good book title? There's the kind of titles that are just so obviously in your face, and it's not even it's poetic, it's just shocking, right? Book titles this isn't part of the 15, but I saw one the other day that was How to Kill Men and Get Away with It. Books like that, or that one book that's everyone in my family has killed someone. There's book titles like that, right? Then there's book titles that are just so beautifully poetic and stunning. And then I feel there's this third category, and maybe there's some other ones as well, but this is the only one I'm thinking of currently, which is the ones that encapsulate the story so well that you don't even notice it's a good book title until you've read the book. So 9 of the book titles I'm going to be listing are ones that I own, and then the other 6 of them are going to be just random ones that unfortunately I don't have at the moment. We'll start with the stack that I have here and we'll just go from top to bottom. The first book we have here is Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I love this book cover as well, but that's not what this is about. This to me is Sally Rooney's best book title. Forget Normal People, forget Conversations with Friends. Beautiful World, Where Are You? I don't know. That is such a stunning and simplistic title, which sometimes less is more, right? I feel it makes it all the more beautiful. I have actually yet to read this book, which is unfortunate. I really liked both of her other books, so maybe I'll like this one the most, who knows. But yeah, I could not make this video without Beautiful World, Where Are You? I feel it flows off the tongue in such a way. I feel this falls into very much the poetic category. Okay, the next one is I'm the Ghost in Your House. This one very much feels in the shocking category, I would say, but also it has a poetic edge to it as well. I'm the ghost in your house. I feel that could mean so much, and it's also one of those ones that's it's one sentence, very short and simple, but also longer than a word or two. And this is another one I haven't read, so unfortunately I can't tell you if it really lines up with the book. I do know that the book is about this girl who is a ghost, so it is very literal in that sense, but who knows, it might have more meaning once I actually give this a read. But I absolutely love this title, I Am the Ghost in Your House. This actually, the title and the cover, totally made me buy it. The next one is A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. This one I also haven't read. I'm sorry, but I love this title for the simplicity of it all. A room of one's own. I feel like it just says so much. It says so much, right? Like, just dissecting the title, like, think about it. A room in and of itself is just like a neutral thing, a setting, right? But then to add the context of one's own, because, and this would be really helpful if I read the book, but I do feel like this is potentially metaphorical. Like, we're not talking about a real room here, but the idea of ownership and like belonging, if that makes sense. I think this one is so stunning and I just love the simplicity of it. The next one I have here is Nobody Knows My Name by James Baldwin. This is just so stunning to me. Nobody knows my name. Anyway, I feel like this is such a strong title. Like, it holds so much strength while also holding so much vulnerability at the same time. And it also has this interesting facet of like having his name literally right above the title of Nobody Knows My Name. I think that's something that really draws the eye. And I really feel like this title gets across this sense of feeling like you don't belong, or this feeling of invisibility that is really interesting. All right, the next book we have here is We Do What We Do in the Dark. I love like the repetition of this title. It actually like trips me up quite frequently, but I feel like it is so perfect for this book. I have read this book, so there's that. And honestly, this is one of my favorite books, and this title is so perfect for this one. It is so fitting, and satisfyingly, it is one of those titles that makes its way into the dialogue of the text, which is literally just one of the best feelings ever. The same thing happens in Normal People when you're reading it and they say normal people and you're like, you did not just say that. But anyway, also why this is such a great title for this book is because it's about these two women who have an affair together. One of them is a professor and the other one is a college student, and the professor is married. So it very much conveys that something secretive is happening here, and that whatever is secretive is also kind of colored with shame. I actually want to see if I can find the exact line. Okay, I finally found it. I'm gonna read it to you if you don't want to like be spoiled. I mean, it's not like a spoiler, but if you don't want to hear this part, just skip ahead a little bit. So it goes, "Which ways are we alike?" The woman looked as if she knew Mallory was going to ask this. "You and I," she said, "we do what we do in the dark, and then we deal with it all alone." That has given me some sense of deep inner satisfaction. So yeah, I admire this title. I think it is just brilliant. The next one is This Is How You Lose the Time War. Again, this is another one of my favorite books of all time, and I think this title is absolutely stunning. It is deeply significant to the content of the book, but it's also just so interesting. I think it's interesting, especially because this is a sci-fi book, so it gets you thinking about whether this is meant as something literal or figurative. This title just makes you do like mental gymnastics because, first of all, what's a time warp? Second of all, why am I losing at it? And I think that makes it all the more fascinating. And how time and war are handled in this book is very representative of the emotions that this title is getting across. It is just such a captivating title. Like, you can't even lie to me. Like, I'm just looking at this like, wow. The next one, another one of my favorites, is The Space Between Worlds. This is such an intriguing title to me. It is so perfect for this book. It's unreal because this book is about multidimensional travel. It's literally talking about the space between parallel worlds. Like, she really got me with this one. It's so good. And this is another one where, while it's so literal and it completely encapsulates the book's energy and plot, it also is so poetic. The space between worlds, like, that could mean so much. It holds so much meaning. Because are we just talking about literal space? Are we talking about metaphorical space? What's between that space that's creating the space between the worlds? What are these different worlds that we're talking about? Like, if you didn't know this was about parallel universes, is it about just two people and their separate worlds? This to me is just one of those titles that holds so much weight and is so brilliant. This next one is Her Body and Other Parties. This, I just feel like I don't have to say anything. I do not have to say shit about this right now. Be so for real. Her body and other parties. The first time I heard this title, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that's totally fine and cool, and I'm totally not irrevocably changed by that. This is a short story collection, and I feel like this title, while it is great for the whole collection, I feel like it's significantly perfect for the first story in this collection. The first story in this collection is The Husband Stitch, which actually taught me what the husband stitch is, and I just feel like this perfectly captures what this author is trying to show. You know what, let's actually do some dissecting like we're in English class. I'm gonna look up the formal definition of a party. A social gathering of invited guests. So think about that. Her body and other parties. I just want you to sit on that. Anyway, let's move on. The next one we have here is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I could not include this one. This just says enough. This says it all. Exactly. This title is so stunning, so brilliant, and obviously this completely falls into the category of beautiful and poetic titles that hold so much depth and so much meaning. And I feel like something about this book that is maybe very individual to this specific title is the use of like one word standing out so greatly that makes the title such a whole, which to me I think is the word briefly, because this book could easily just be On Earth We're Gorgeous, but would that mean anything? On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous? Now that has you questioning shit. I love titles like this specifically that are like a few words that really cut to the chase, but they're like one line of perfect, beautiful poetry. All right, and the last 6 are ones I don't own, and we'll go through those now. I wish the sun would come back. I'm so sad. All right, so the next one we have for this is actually the first book I thought of when thinking about making this video, which is the book I Love You, But I've Chosen Darkness. I mean, come on. Like, come on. What? I love you, but I've chosen darkness. Okay, I don't care what this book is about. I will read it just because of this title. That is so stunning to me. I actually think that is one of the best titles I've ever heard. The next one is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. This is one where I feel like it's both poetic and just generally shocking. This one is so interesting because it has this almost like distressing tone to it. It's also very like ominous, like, are all the characters at the end of this gonna be dead? Is it literal in that sense? Or is it just playing off of a theme and it's not literal at all? This is another book title that completely makes me want to read the book. I'll read the book no matter what because of this title. It's also one of those ones that provokes such contemplation. The phrase, everyone in this room will someday be dead, how does that not get you thinking? It's very powerful in that sense, I feel. This next one, oh my god, literally, this is another one I'm like, oh my god, top like 5 best titles of all time, which is Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory. No, seriously, let that sink in. Someone who will love you in all your damaged glory. What? How do you even think of that? How do you even think of that? That's actually insane behavior. Just like the tiny part of that title, like your damaged glory, that is so striking to me. That stands out to me so much, and I will simply read that book because of this title. Simply Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory. It's one of those ones I just can't even stop saying. It's literally so stunning. I can't even stop saying it. I'm so obsessed with that one. I absolutely love that title. The next one is Homesick for Another World by Otessa Moshfegh. I love this title so much. I see myself in this title. I'm so serious. Like, this is one that has so much meaning to it, at least to me. I haven't read this book. I don't know what it's about. It could be so just like fun and eclectic in the sense that it's simply talking about like an alien in the story. Like, it could literally be as plain as that, but it could also hold meaning in the sense of like a person, just a regular person, feeling ostracized, feeling excluded, feeling oppressed, feeling lonely, feeling this sense of longing and yearning for a place of belonging or to feel, you know, connected and included in something. And what a way to put it, homesick for another world. Oh my gosh. And I feel like that title is a feeling in and of itself. And I feel like this title totally expresses that desperateness to like belong to something and to feel like you don't belong to something else in that, you know, juxtaposition of each other. I just absolutely love this one. I haven't read it, like I said, but I definitely will. The next one is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This book I haven't read yet. Keyword yet, because I 100% will read this book. But this is one of those titles that I feel like is so stunning in terms of the content of the book, because this is a memoir by Chanel Miller who writes about her experience being essayed at Stanford, and her experience was extremely scrutinized by the public and by the media. And I think the fact that she got to tell her story like this is so wonderful, and the choice of her title is so strong and just represents pure strength to me, in that she's truly claiming back the power that all of this devastation took from her, in a sense. And the fact that while this was all going on, no one was talking about her, saying her name. They were talking about the perpetrator. And so this is just such an amazing title to me, Know My Name, with her name right under it. I'm just thinking now how I have that other title, Nobody Knows My Name, and they obviously are very different, but it's just something I just thought of. But yeah, what a stunning and powerful powerhouse of a title. Okay, and then the very last one we have here, I actually have read this book and I do own it, but I don't have it with me right now. It is I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This title is so good because it has so many meanings. It's such like a double entendre in that way, because when I first heard of this book and before reading it, I had thought the title alluded to taking your own life, but then you can look at it in so many different ways of like talking about a relationship. I'm thinking of ending things. And for some reason in my head at first, I was really so dead set on the first definition of what I thought it meant. And then when reading this book, it totally changed the trajectory of what the title meant to me. And I think that is something so cool to be able to do as an author, because not only does the title draw you in, it also is changing your mind as you're consuming the story. It is just so interesting. That is one of those ones that have definitely stuck with me throughout time. Those are all the titles I have for you today. Let me know what you think, if you agree or disagree. I would absolutely love to hear some of your favorite book titles in the comments. Please let me know. I have literally been like scrolling Reddit looking at people's favorite book titles ever since watching Jack's video. That's why I have a list of like 50. I just can't stop compiling them. And if you like this video and are interested in seeing a follow-up or two, please let me know, because I am very open to that. I will probably do it actually even if no one asks. So, but yeah, of course, please let me know all of your thoughts as always. Thank you for being here and spending your time with me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.